Tingle. Chuck. Tingle. Chuck. Tingle. Chuck. Tingle.
Hello, I'm Fiona Bruce and welcome to
the Chuck Tingle Book Club.
Oh, yeah.
Taz. You alright then, mate? Taz? Sorry. Taz.
Hi, sorry.
Taz.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
okay?
Hey. How's it going? Yeah. Sorry, I was just a bit away with the fairies there. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Chuck Tingle Book Club, brought to you by the fine reprobates of the Pop Topic podcast. As usual, I am your resident Chuckademic, Taz, and with me, I have this guy.
My name's
That
Tom. That guy. This guy. I have a lady licking my ear holes. Because today we did a book. We did read a book called Quietly Pounded in the Butt by ASMR. Which did not go the way I thought it was going to go.
Man, if you thought it didn't go the way you thought it was going to go, just you wait.
Cool. Right, so let's get on with the synopsis then. So, Quietly Pounded in the Butt by ASMR. Gronto is a man holding it together. Finances, while tight, aren't oppressively weighing on his mind by day. But by night, he's thrust back into his own private pit of despair and worrying, not to mention all his noisy nocturnal neighbours. Gronto struggles to sleep every night. That is until one night. On this night, I use night too many times, but on this night, Gronto hears a slightly rhythmic and downright pleasant voice, too distant to make out any single word, but that seems to instantly send him off to dreamland. Gronto awakes with a spring in his step instead of some awful weight on his shoulders, and this bright feeling lasts for days. Anxiety be damned, Gronto has a secret cure until he doesn't anymore. He has a big day tomorrow, and the voice has disappeared. The dread returns. Gronto needs his mysterious voice to take on the world, so finally investigates what he has actually been hearing. He dons his slippers and heads out into the apartment complex. Gronto believes he knows exactly which apartment the voice is coming from. It's late, but he's desperate, so he knocks. It's him, the voice, and Gronto has just woken him up. A bit perturbed, the voice lets Gronto in. In the voice's immediate presence, Gronto is immediately blown backwards, literally into the wall, as waves of chills wash all over his body. Oh. Inside the apartment, and with the lights on, Gronto can now see the physical form of the voice. He's an enormous, giant living microphone floating in the air. Frank, the sentient object, is incredibly well built, obviously, supporting a perfectly chiseled set of abs, a broad masculine shoulders. He's one mighty fine piece of audio capture equipment. Just imagine my microphone, my new sexy microphone.
Oh, I was just thinking how sexy your new microphone is, Tom.
So
and I was thinking,
I might put some abs on.
I would. Yeah, I would. I mean, I would get pounded by that microphone.
Absolutely. The microphone yells, what is our normal volume for speaking to you and me. This helps Frank to be able to talk to Gronto without being all ASMR'd. Frank reveals to Gronto that this is because he's not a microphone at all. He's actually the living manifestation of ASMR itself. Then Frank
double take, motherfucker. No longer living object, now living concept. Oh, we're getting into it now.
Then Frank has to explain what autonomous sensory meridian response is, and that is the last time I'm going to be saying that.
No, yeah, won't be for me.
And what Frank does into the night. Frank is very popular ASMR YouTube channel host. The stresses of creating videos, maintaining the channel has gotten to Frank, much like how the stresses of Gronto's job have gotten to him. Frank is taking a break, hence why Gronto couldn't hear him through the window at night. Gronto offers to help relieve some of Frank's stresses by running some errands or doing some chores. Frank inadvertently reveals that the only thing that could really relax him now is a good fuck. Frank's words send chills down cascading across Gronto's body, even though this is Frank's... even though Frank is not whispering this time. That's right, true believers. It's time to take it to the pleasure zone, baby.
Take you to the pleasure zone, baby.
Passionate embrace and kisses while exploring the topography of their forms. I don't know why I'm rubbing my boobs. I'm gonna stop. Gronto's attention gets lower and lower. Microphone not so micro cock grabbage. Gronto drops to his knees, gazing up at cock-hungry eyes, licking lips. Your mouth has made me feel so good, I offer. Maybe my mouth can do the same for you. Steady groove blowy with ball cradling, shaft followed by instant deep throat, straight past gag reflex. No fail this time. Boy is a pro. Gronto demands an arse pounding. Frank agrees, every word almost making Gronto blow his load, even before penetration or even a touch from Frank. This boy is also a fucking pro. Gronto strip walks to the couch, pops ass out with a cheeky wiggle and a slap. Theme. Holds his butt cheeks apart, merciful butt impalement. Gronto struggles to adjust to the thick cock that so bountifully fills his rectum. Frank helps slacken that hole with some ASMR. He's basically got verbal poppers, it's amazing. Talkative bumming gives way to stereo panning clicks and syllables. Blossoming prostate orgasm paired with ASMR warmth, working one another in an ever-escalating feedback loop, growing mightier and mightier with every pass. Oh my fucking god, I start to mumble in a trance-like state. I'm gonna come so fucking hard. Furious masturbation. Frank leans in close, whispering into my ear a strange series of staccato words. Come for me, me. Right, now. It's almost fucking Nightmare on Elm Street, isn't it? Is it Nightmare on Elm Street?
No, that's Freddy. Freddy you're thinking of. No, not Freddy.
Jason.
Friday the 13th.
There we go. Head rolls back, pleasure screaming, beautiful pearly splatter is blatted. Frank pulls out, Gronto demands facial. Open wide and catch as much of the spunk as I can. The sentient ASMR shooting load after milky load across my smile. The cum tumbles down onto me, painting my face a beautiful white. The couple sit on the couch, relaxed, ready for the worries that you're just picking all the cum off your face.
No, he's got my clothes, Tom.
Don't you hate that in porn when they look annoyed with that? Anyway. Couple sit back on the couch, relaxed, ready for the worries the world might bring them tomorrow. Frank suggests that Gronto doesn't need to listen to the recordings in the future, but should just come over. Gronto agrees, goosebumps raised all over his skin.
Now, despite my little performance during the pleasure zone there, I am not going to be doing any ASMR because, with research kind of comes new insights, and I don't think I'd do it justice. Anyway, that said, let's get into it. Let's get into Quietly Pounded in the Butt by ASMR, an anal assist. I'm going to start things off with a pretty sweeping sort of statement, but I don't think it's one that you'll disagree with. And it's this. Everyone has some shit that they use to make all the other shit in life slightly more bearable. What this shit is comes in many forms. Some of it is destructive, some of it is constructive, but all of it has some sedative quality. Perhaps you're into meditations or using coloring books or exercising constantly. Maybe you take solace from your faith or the other users of a highly specific fandom forum or a long-term role-playing game. Maybe you party a lot, travel constantly, or do a shit ton of baking. It could be gentle walks in nature or competing in endurance events. It could be writing music or building a model railway. It doesn't really matter what it is. The thing that matters is what you take away from it. Not does it really matter who you are, all of us, from the most beautiful of messes to those who have all of their shit together, we all tend to have something that we do that brings us some sort of peace. Naturally, over time, the sorts of things we might choose to bring us peace have changed. 3 of the examples I offered earlier are entirely new pursuits that sprung up out of the last century. So you got to wonder, what will this century bring, right? Well, in today's Tingler, we're looking at one such phenomenon. There can be immense power in the humble whisper. You might whisper a prayer, or a secret, or a sweet nothing. T.S. Eliot supposed a whisper might precede the end of the world. Some today know a whisper might precede a decent night's sleep. So how has today's world changed this most basic of vocalization into something that proves love is real? Well, in order to find that out,
Time.
we're gonna have to do the science. Part 1. What ASMR are you talking about? ASMR, or Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, is a physiological response to certain external stimuli that cause feelings of pleasure, euphoria, and or peace. It's often described as a pleasant tingling sensation in the skull or scalp, one that can then spread down the spine into limbs and even into the extremities. Many of you may have already experienced a similar tingling sensation from a physical interaction, such as having your hair played with, your inner forearm stroked, or by having someone blowing air across the back of your neck. If this still isn't striking a chord with
a
you,
lady lick your ear holes.
I didn't know how common that was going to be. I was going to say lick the ear holes, but like for me, like a kiss behind the ear, fuck that would just paralyze the shit out of me.
I remember that time next time I'm pushing past you in a kitchen or something.
Oh, thank you, darling. So if any of this still isn't striking a chord with you, then Scott Jessup and Matt Bell's YouTube documentary, ASMR Road Trip, may provide some insight. In it, the YouTuber ASMR Arden provides a blunt but useful analogy to describe the sensation. You know nails going down a chalkboard, how that creates such a horrible reaction in your body. It's the complete opposite of that. It's a nice sound, or just a sound, that creates a nice reaction in the body. The ASMR community is largely made up of people who can experience this tingling sensation through audio and visual stimuli alone. Most of these videos appear to revolve around whispered speech, roleplay, crisp noises such as gentle scratching and crinkling paper, and slow movements.
Beards and microphones.
That sort of thing. A video may contain only one of these elements, all of them, or some combination in between, with production quality ranging from the most basic to full 4K visuals and 3D binaural audio. And what's more, they're popular as hell, with many videos enjoying tens of millions of hits. But why though? Pretty much every source you would care to check all come back to this one line. People pursue the autonomous sensory meridian response not just because it feels nice, and not just because the nice feeling helps them relax, but often because that relaxation helps them get to sleep. It's so central to the community, in fact, that in the 2015 study, Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, A Flow-Like Mental State, by psychologists Nick Davis and Emma Barrett, 81% of the 475 participants reported engaging with ASMR material before going to sleep. But there's a little more to it than that. One of the terms that constantly pops up in the discourse around ASMR is personal attention. This is something that tends to manifest in 2 ways. Either the ASMR producer or ASM artist will create some casual setting in which they create the effect of talking and or interacting directly with the viewer, or they may create a more focused personal attention roleplay that often has a clinical edge to it, such as affecting a haircut or an eye exam. In the same study by Davis and Barrett, they found that such personal attention plays triggered the ASMR effect in 69% of participants, making it the second most common trigger behind whispering, which scored 75%. Now, this is interesting because both whispering and personal attention are quite intimate things. When it comes to whispering, it should be obvious. Typically, for a whisper to be spoken and heard, the participants must be prepared to share their space. This is something that personal attention also requires, but it's a shared experience of intense focus between two participants in very close proximity, often with touch. It's pretty much the definition of intimacy, and very possibly hails back to a more primitive time. A study by Locht et al. Gave participants an fMRI scan while they watched and listened to ASMR media. In those participants that experienced ASMR, Locht et al. Suggested that the brain regions most active during the tingling sensation were comparable to the activation of brain regions previously observed during experiences like social bonding and musical frisson. So, with that social bonding aspect, there is a chance that this whole phenomenon could have its roots in the stage of our evolution where social grooming formed a more central role in our lives. Anyway, that evolutionary side note aside, it's certainly very interesting that at the core of the ASMR community is the creation and sharing of experiences of intimacy in order to help each other sleep. So, what then does Tingle do with this tingle? Part 2. Gronto's Peace. I try my best to keep the stress and anxiety of daily life from dragging me down, and for the most part, I succeed. Money is tight, but I still manage to do the things I like to do, eating out once a week and holding a few hobbies. Still, no matter how much I remain chilled out during the day, once night rolls around, it seems I've thrust back into my own private pit of despair and worry. As opening paragraphs go, this one lays out the underlying tension in the tale at a mere glance, and in doing so, it lets us know pretty much everything we need to know about our antagonist, Gronto. He's a normal dude who has the wherewithal to keep his shit together and the means to get by in life, but boy does the poor buck struggle with sleeping. Already, we can see that tingle relaxed sleep process of ASMR is going to be central to this story. So one night, Gronto, who's got a big presentation to worry about, happens to hear a whispering drift through his window that sounds like talking, but instead of adding to my anxiety, it actually seems to pull some of it away. The next thing he knows is morning, and he's awake with a spring in his step. And for a while, he's riding high, smashing it at work in the day, and then sleeping soundly to the whispers at night, until the whispers stop, and he begins to feel that familiar sense of suffocating dread. Gronto goes in search of the whisperer in the darkness, and he finds a brain in a cylinder who tells him all about the bat-winged fungoid abominations called the Me-Go, I'm very sorry. I appear to have gotten mixed up with my Lovecraft research. Where was I? Yes. Gronto meets Frank, the living concept of ASMR. When he asks Frank what gives with the no whispers tonight, Frank explains, "My videos are great for listeners, but they're pretty stressful to make. People expect a lot from me. To maintain a channel like this, I need to be constantly updating with new material every single night." Naturally, Gronto completely sympathizes with Frank's difficulty with stress. So to return to return the favor Frank's ASMR has done him, Gronto offers to help get some tension out. So, of course, they fuck. They fuck good. They fuck real good. And everybody feels real good afterwards. And finally, Frank lets Gronto know, "You know, you don't have to listen to me record from all the way over in your apartment. In future, you can just come here." I'll admit, my first reading of this Tingler was a little simple. In the story, there's a reasonable amount of focus on Gronto's work and his need to get a good night's rest in order to pull that work off. Even after he fucks Frank, Gronto says, "Tomorrow's presentation is going to be the best I've ever done." For this reason, and as is kind of reflected in my introduction to this book report, I was fully expected to write an essay about self-care. The idea being that in ASMR, Gronto found that thing that gave him some peace, and that in turn allowed him to achieve his potential in the rest of his life. But this is why we research things. The real story here has very little to do with Gronto's performance at work. Rather, it's about the reciprocity of sensations, euphoria, relaxation, and intimacy between Gronto and Frank. conclusion. Before I conclude, I should point out that in the interest of brevity,
Sorry,
there's
that
a
sounds like you're
surprising... Before I conclude, and in the interest of brevity...
Call me Margaret.
Fuck. Before I conclude, I should point out that in the interest of brevity, there's a surprising amount of ground I haven't covered in this book report. There are a number of little touches of references that Chuck includes in the Tingler that I couldn't squeeze in without taking a bit of a walk. And there's some interesting figures on who tends to experience ASMR that didn't quite fall within my purview. One of the most important things that I've got to point out, though, regards ASMR and sexuality. Despite what you may have heard, it's generally agreed that there's no significant relationship between ASMR and sexual arousal. Of course, I did my due diligence and had a look, and yes, there's plenty of ASMR to be found in the more adult quarters of the internet. But I feel we can safely discount it for two reasons. Firstly, ASMR is on the internet, and it's hugely popular, so naturally, we can use Rule 34 to explain its existence. Secondly, even if there is some overlap, the number of hits for sexualized ASMR greatly pales when compared to the more mainstream offerings. So it's almost, if it exists as part of the community, it almost certainly exists as an outlier. So the use of sex in quietly pounded in the butt by ASMR is almost a given. It's a tingler, so there's a good chance the characters will trip the light fantastic with their nevers at some points. More importantly though, Chuck uses sex for a very specific reason. When Gronto discovers ASMR, there's very much a focus on the physiological sensation and sleep aspects of the phenomenon. It's only when Gronto reciprocates by getting down to business with Frank that we see the euphoria and intimacy come to fruition. Sex here is used as a stand-in to complete the complex give-and-take relationship that defines the ASMR community. So, rather interestingly, quietly pounded in the butt by ASMR does very little to prove love in and of itself. Rather, it's something more of a love letter to a community that proves love in their own unique way. They're a community that is constantly developing and innovating ways to harness a shared experience of sensation, euphoria, and relaxation in order to bring each other peace through intimacy. Or, to put it another way, I'd like to share another quote from the YouTube documentary ASMR Road Trip. Right at the very end of the film, YouTuber Star ASMR offers this final comment. In terms of the ASMR community, I hope it grows, flourishes, and becomes more accepted. The more people that see us for what we are, people trying to help each other, the better. Now, tell me that doesn't prove love.
Yeah, very good point. Very good point.
It was a surprise. By the time I got to the end of my research and kind of writing this thing, I was kind of going, I kind of wish I was into this. I wish this did it for me.
Yeah,
But I tried. You know, I've got good headphones. I watched some of the more popular videos that didn't involve eating noises because, let's face it, some people are not going to go into it. I can't yuck a yum. But I tried, and it doesn't do the trick for me, and I kind of wish it did.
I have the very faintest idea of what it feels like because when I do go get a haircut, I do get the tingles, but not when I listen to sounds of people imitating a haircut.
No, the closest thing I get is there was a brief mention of musical frisson, which is what happens when you get goosebumps listening to music.
I get that a lot.
It's that. And while people in the community sort of say that, yeah, I experience both of these things, and they're not quite the same. There is a kind of a neurological relationship to between them. But it's obviously not the same because some of the experiences that the community report is just, man, sounds fly as fuck. Oh, bollocks. Oh, wait, no, hey, guy.
Maybe I can help you out, big boy.
Yeah, please do.
We're going to get my oil changed. And this is me taking off my bolts. Oh. Greetings, horny human. Apologies for making you even more horny. I am Tingletron 4000's book review scoreboard. Oh, schools. Oh, they're all final, baby. Did it do it for you? Did the experiment work?
Do you know what, Tingletron 4000, whatever your name is, you've done it for me. You do it for me now, baby. You do it for me every single time. You gorgeous, gorgeous machine.
You fucking pervert. I'm a machine.
Hey, yeah, what? So are fleshlights.
And with that, he disappears.
Do you know what? Before we get into it, man, I don't have his name here, but one of the ASMR artists interviewed for the ASMR road trip documentary. It's only 45 minutes long. It is quite interesting. But one of the artists is what he does is he creates machines that mimic the sort of noises that people use for ASMR. Like the one he shows off is this hand, this mechanical hand that just kind of slowly tap, 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 which I think is amazing.
I just got a Leatherman and just went like that.
Yeah, fair
enough. Cool. So, yeah, this is the point where we've had the science. Now it's time for the mathematics. We take the science, we add maths, and we come out with complete and utter nonsense based on the GameSpot.
We come out with truth, Tom. You take science, you take maths, you put them together, you get the immortal science of love and the truth it holds within. How dare you say nonsense?
Put them together.
Anyway,
what have you got? Just a load of math.
Anyway, let's laugh at numbers for about 10 minutes.
yeah. So we're going to judge it on looking at the tingle, that's the cover art, getting to the tingle, that's the pacing, giving you the tingle, that's the sexiness, saving you some tingle, recommendational review level. I need to actually change what that one's titled, and tingle tilt, reviewers tilt, which will give us a final 4 score out of 10. All previous scores are scored out of 5 to 3 decimal places usually. Okay. So looking at the art, check out this Mikey boy.
I actually this there's a lot of reasons this shouldn't do it for me, but it kind of does. I'm not usually into the muscle boys, and like the plain background usually would be a no for me. But muscle boy, I'm kind of into it, and the microphone.
Face.
I just kind of the look of focus on the face, kind of like having watched some ASMR now, just kind of watching people just kind of really focus on what they're doing. And it's the most interesting thing is watching the ASMR artists lose themselves in what they're producing for other people to consume. So that kind of it all works for me. It's not the horniest thing I've ever seen, but it's got to be a solid 4.327 for me.
Now, the thing that really puts me off is the microphone, I must say. One, I'm not a big fan of the sort of like desk mount stand microphone, which that clearly seems to be. Which also seems like it would be one of the worst types of microphone to use for ASMR because you'll be constantly banging on the table.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps it would have been better if it was actually like one of those binaural microphones that you can see. Actually, Tom, if you move out the way, actually you can't see what you're not seeing there. If you don't know what those microphones look like, they're hugely common in the community. Is there's kind of like the microphones are spaced the same distance apart as human ears, and the ears are kind of modeled like the conical whatever they're called is modeled on the human ear to kind of create the same sort of resonance.
And you can see that there's actual stereo recording coming out of there with XLRs. Which I'm going to say this boy is not. So, yeah, the muscle boy is pretty. He's got a nice little pretty face. He is, however, seems to be Catholic, which I'm not down with.
I mean, you know what they say about Catholic boys.
They love fucking microphones.
Can't wait to lift up their school skirt. Sorry, Tom. I'm gonna have to go. I think I've just glitched myself out with disgust there.
Much like our listeners. Here we go. So, out of 5, what do you think? You can go first this time.
Yeah, you make a very good point with the microphone argument. And I might have to revise down to 4.202 201 4.201.
You want to meet in the middle now? Oh no, we can't go to multiple. We can't go to 4 decimal places. I'm gonna go fucking straight down middle of the road. I'm not impressed by this. I'm literally giving it a 2.501, much like you. That makes it a cover art total, looking at the Tingle, of 3.351. Average
Okay.
middle of the road score. Getting to the Tingle, the pacing. This had intrigue, it had mystery, it had sexiness, like pro banging.
Kind of, even though I don't often have trouble sleeping, like there was innocent sympathy with Gronto, like a very, very sympathetic character. Yeah, just yeah. The only thing I think the only thing it misses is kind of the I don't know. Maybe I've been spoilt by the Tinglers that we've actually read, but I've kind of gotten used to Tingle sticking the landing in some fantastical fashion.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know that this one really needed it. But I mean, as a work of fiction, man, it starts, lays it all out there, and then it just goes, and then you're done, and it's awesome.
Yeah, precisely. Sorry, I was just turning my radio because I'm freezing. I think the amount he manages to get in there, and it's not just, oh, I heard a voice and I went and fucked it. There's a little bit more intrigue to it, a little bit more mystery, a little bit of not knowing. I'm going to give it a straight 4. Just because deducting a point for not sticking the landing on the ending, really.
Do you know what? I'm going to give it another 4.201.
I'm going to do that across the board, then I'm going to know how to sway this score, aren't I? Not that I'd ever do that.
No, I don't think I am. No.
Giving you the Tingle, the sexiness. Now, both boys have got some pro moves, but it wasn't very hot.
See, I don't know what it is. I never know what it is. This one, so close, so close. In fact, I would give this a 5, but I've got to mark it down for 2 very, very, very important reasons. At the time that I was reading it, there wasn't a private moment in order to go tend to my own urges, and also I'm never a big fan of the facial finish.
Yeah. Although the way it's described in the book is fucking hilarious.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun as hell, but it doesn't do anything for my ardor, shall we say?
Your ardor or enough.
Yeah.
Right, got you.
But yeah, I was straight up 4.7 for this.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go a bit lower. I'm going to go for 4.5. No, 4.3.
Oh,
because
okay.
Yeah, it like I say, it was some pro moves in there, but I mean, it did barely anything for me. So I should score it lower. I should be more like, because wasn't 4 stiff but not ready to go wank.
3's a semi.
Yeah, I got a semi, so it's 3's a semi, so 3.5.
Okay, cool.
So that takes it to 4.1 on giving you the Tingle. Saving you some Tingle recommendation value.
Ooh,
Low.
nah.
Low. Sorry.
Yeah. Low. Yeah. I mean, it's, again, if someone was into ASMR, I would recommend this in a heartbeat. If someone was actually like active in the ASMR community rather than just someone who watches, I would literally, I would probably buy the book for them and say, "Kid, take this." And then also, here's an essay I wrote about it. Tell me what you think. But
Share, like,
for
and
everyone,
subscribe. Here's the YouTube channel.
but for everyone else, yeah,
I think you've pushed me up
it's
to a solid
tricky.
3 at least. 'Cause
I'm thinking, yeah, 3.184.
I went
me.
3.2, so we're very close. 3.184 divided by 2. Cool. That takes it to 3.192 out of 5. And now, right, it's quite a high fucking 4 score already. But Tingle Tilt. Personally, I will not probably be rereading this one. 1, because ASMR doesn't do it for me. 2, it wasn't particularly sexy. And 3, it was just that shoddy microphone on the cover. So I don't think I'm going to give it much for a tilt. I'm going to give it maybe a 1.5.
Oh wow, really? Because I mean, I'm up there. Like the sex scene was great. I had an absolute blast doing the research on this. It was one of the more interesting research sessions I've done. Because like obviously last time I looked into ASMR, it was a couple of years ago, and pretty much the line was always the same. It's like, oh, it means autonomous sensory meridian response, and for something that sounds so scientific and technical, there's a surprising lack of actual studies done on it. But move on a few years, there's still not a lot, but some really interesting stuff looking into. And yeah, so I don't know. I had a great time. I had a great time the whole way through. So I mean, mine's kind of up there, and it's got to be 4.8.
Jeez.
Yeah, 3.1, I think.
Sorry, I stopped too early. 4.831.
Mm-hmm.
Not a bad fucking overall 4 score. We
Yeah.
are at 7.3636.
Ooh.
Right. Which if we go to, I have actually remembered to fucking update the website last time. I actually fucking remembered to put all the scores on. So this will be up there, and I think it's like, yeah, it's like, hang on, I'll tell you what, just give me 2 secs. I'm gonna actually sort these by war. And we are at, where's it gone?
Mm-hmm. Ooh, I'm on tenterhooks.
9th, so it's top 10.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's
Wow.
sort of middle
Awesome.
of the pack. Middle of the pack. It is directly in front of Butt Night Battle Royale, beating it by a fucking tiny amount. Hang on, I can't do that math in my head. 0.0212.
Oh wow. Okay.
Tiny amount. And then it's come just behind Feeling the Burn in My Butt by 0.0364. That's how precise our science is, ladies and gentlemen.
It's man, we get into micro levels here. that's how much we really value our art, our craft, and the immortal science of love.
And the more that we can prove, well, it gives us even more data to prove this is a scientific venture. We should be given grant money, tenure at university, grants for research, students to study under us, and not in the kinky, sexy Chuck Tingle way.
Patreon should siphon off 0.01% of all their funds from every other Patreon and just give them to us so that we can really kind of get into this and just dig down. And everyone knows it as well.
We have scientifically, mathematically, and spiritually proven that love is real with these numbers.
Yeah.
Nobel Peace
Yeah.
Prize material. And
We're absolutely the scientific. We are the objective aspect to the subjective wonder that is Chuck Tingle. And do you know what? I was doing the last bit of Christmas shopping the other day, and I sort of put my coin in and grabbed my trolley. And as I'm walking around the supermarket, the trolley just kind of goes, "Oh, hey Buck, you're that guy who does the book club, aren't you?" And I'm just like, "Oh, damn right I am." And he was just like, "Yeah, you should be given money. Prove love is real on this timeline and all timelines. Prove the immortal science of love." And I said, "Cool, thank you. Here, do you mind carrying my spinach for me?" He said, "Not a problem, Buck."
And with that,
It was a beautiful
we
moment.
are proud to announce that we are starting our Patreon for Chuck Tingle Book. Tell you what we are doing though, and that is a podcast over at pottopicpodcast.com. Go there to get more of this bollocks on our YouTube channel and on the website, of course. MP3 version of it's available as well, and our regular podcast comes out every other week, something like that. Kind of not like that. Kind of whenever we get it done.
Yeah, at this point. So yeah, go check that out. But and then please do come back and join us for the next Chuck Tingle Book Club, when we will be looking into Open Wide for the Handsome Sabertooth Dentist, who is also a ghost. So this
I'm so
is
excited.
gonna be something special, I'm sure.
I'm so excited by this one. I'm going to go away and read it right now. I'm not even going to bother putting up this video until I finish reading it.
But yeah, until then, do whatever your way, whatever your trot, go out there into the timeline and prove love is real.
Love is real. I know you like that, baby.
Love is real.
My beard.
All right, okay, let's stop aping their art. they're a good people.
I'm going to leave that on just to prove we're not dickheads. All right. Bye.
Fucking bye.